Okay. Hey everyone, it's Heidi with costumeco back with another live stream. Tonight we're talking about House of the Dragon, the new episode. I believe it's called the Rogue Prince. Is that correct?
Yes.
And with me tonight, I have a fabulous panel. I've got Tatiana Melendez. I've got Peace.
Hello.
Oh crap! Oh crap! Oh crap!
Oh, he just what happened?
sorry,
Okay.
yeah.
I get
I was
it.
trying to highlight.
Trigger
No,
finger.
I was trying to highlight.
I've got. Oh, he's trying to highlight them. Yeah, you have to. I was doing this last week. You have to put on this. You have to put it on the solo layout there.
Got
There
it.
she is. There's my girl.
Hello.
there's Rebecca, and we have Justin, who I was just teasing him because the titles match his shirt. He's color coordinated with this episode. And coming into the chat, we've got Lady Starfell and
Hey, Lady
Alicia,
Starfell.
who's here. And Alicia was here
Hey.
last week, and she's going to join us again on another episode. And actually, I'm already so much happier. Like Justin, I was texting him earlier. I'm really miserable. My husband's got COVID.
Oh no. Oh.
Yeah, he just tested for COVID, and then so then he's feeling really terrible, and then I'm kind of working, and kind of the kids are wanting to be fed because that's how they always want to be fed for some reason, and just stressed out and stuff. So anyway,
Why I don't
this
have
is going to be
kids
so
anymore.
fun.
Food, okay.
Yeah.
I'm really happy we're all together. Okay, so before we start, we actually have a schedule this time. What we're going to do. And my hair is all wonky. Sorry.
So, yeah.
Before we get started, what I'll do is we'll go around and everyone's going to introduce themselves. It'll be really fun, and Justin can practice with the buttons. So why don't we start? There he is. Justin, you want to start since you've highlighted yourself?
Yeah, I did it by accident again. I want to. Okay, so I see how to do it now. So this is me. I'm Shadowcat Becks. Nope, that's her.
Sorry.
Yeah, no. All right. No, I'm Justin Thomas. I'm happy to be here. I'm not. I've tried to make a promise to myself not to do too many live streams, but that is the one exception is Heidi. So I'm excited to be here, and I'm liking this show so far. So happy to be here.
And Justin's also my fabulous editor. And like, I swear to God, like, so I said, Justin, I want to do a midweek video. And I handed it to him. And I swear to God, he had it done within 24 hours. I'm like, dude, you're like a miracle man. I don't know how you did that. But anyway.
The money you paid me was the
Yeah.
magic. Yeah.
It's like not
Listen,
very much
Justin.
money.
Fair enough.
Okay. And then next we have Tatiana Melendez, who's coming from south of me.
South of
Oh, no,
everyone,
that's not
probably.
her. There she is.
I'm the most. I am Dorn. I am Dorn right now.
You are Dorn. Totally.
Yay! They have the best costumes.
Yeah.
Hi everybody. I'm coming to you live from Puerto Rico. How y'all doing? How all y'all Gucci? Y'all Kiwis, Europeans, South Americans, Latin Americans, Black Americans. I don't know. All the Americans. Africans, Asians, everybody high.
Yeah, you're covering the
Australians too
gamut.
high. The entire world over. Ooh! Almost dropped my water bottle here.
Yeah, and last but not least, of course, is Rebecca. Oh no, that's wrong. Now he's just messing with us.
Hello, everybody. I'm sorry. The Shadowcat was screaming at me earlier, so she's very vocal tonight. So there will probably be a cat appearance.
It's Cat Miss TV. That's a very good one. Right?
But-
No.
It's
Nope.
pretty good. Although
It
she's
felt.
more like meow.
Oh yeah, it's like my cat's like that too. She's got the tiniest little like soft little kitten.
Oh, she's not. I'm being good for the microphone and not blowing out everybody's ears with how loud my little calico is.
So, hey, before we get going, I'm just going to say hi to everyone in the chat. Sorry, I already said hi to Lady Starfell's here. Okay, Plantageneris is it Plant? That's pretty funny. I love that name, Plantageneris.
I like that.
Is Plantagenet? Is it like Plantagenet and Daenerys mixed together? Is that what it's going on there? Lady Starfall, Sabina. Hello, Sabina. Happy
Lady
Cake.
Starfall just.
Santavia, Major, is it Bodie? Dominican here. Carla,
Hi, neighbor.
Yeah. So anyway, we've got a good crew, good audience so far. And now, before we get started, I promised I would do this. Okay, guys, there's going to be spoilers. Like, so we're just going to be like full spoilers. Like, I don't know, we can't keep it together. So we're just going to full spoilers, book spoilers, TV spoilers. I don't know, like future movies coming out spoilers.
We're
Whatever.
going to talk about the television show, so there's going to be spoilers for that show, else it would be impossible. So just put your
Exactly.
big
So
on.
okay,
I'll try to keep like the book spoiler stuff, but
nobody
I
needs to get into that.
Yeah, but like I might highlight like, well, it didn't happen like this in the book.
Yeah. The other thing is, I am drinking a Bloody Caesar, which I figured is a good drink for House of the Dragon, and I'm doing this because things have been a little rough. So my neighbor dropped off Clamato juice, which is the major ingredient. It's a very Canadian drink. So any Canadians out there who love Caesars, cheers to you.
I like Labatt's,
Labatt's, Yeah. Okay, so Justin has the itinerary. And what I thought we'd do, or actually this is his idea, it's not my idea at all, is to go by character. So we're going to go around the room and just talk, this is a virtual room, not a real room. If we were sitting in a circle, kind of like that 70s show, smoking a bong or whatever, that's what we'd be doing, right?
Basically, yeah.
If we were degenerates, yeah.
I'm just imagining myself in the basement with you guys smoking a bong.
Do some bean meal coolness.
So anyway, so Justin, who are we starting with? We're going to start
Viserys.
with Viserys. Okay, there he is.
This episode is kind of like the West Wing episode. This is a political intrigue, setting up a lot of stuff. So the status of the realm is a huge factor, obviously, everywhere. So let's start with the king. Let's start with Viserys. We'll get into him and Alicent later, but let's just talk about, I guess, go around about what he was facing this episode. And we're trying to see how these characters are thinking they need to do what they need to do, are being put into the corner they're being put into, Daemon and all that. So I don't know, Heidi, if you want to start with what you've thought about Viserys.
I'm just going to, a few Lady Starfells having imbibing. And also,
because I can say that just like right off the bat, as far as like a broad view of it, I really think that he is played very much so innocent, a little bit negligent because of he's not all that intelligent, it seems, right? Paddy Constantine was in Peaky Blinders, and he plays like this priest is so wicked, and you just want to kill him like the whole time. Like maybe it's just me, and I got to see a therapist. But oh man, you just hate him. But the way he's playing Viserys, I think it's really good. I mean, like he has good intentions, right? But I don't think he has a king's. Like neither does Daemon. But they're obviously like very different. But it's interesting. I didn't see this type of performance coming, and I'll say that I really do like the way they're going with it, because like he's not a vindictive man, but he's had to already do some pretty like unforgivable things, right? So I think he's played like very soft, and I think that was pretty smart. That's my take.
Yeah. Do you guys want to go first? You guys can go first. Tatiana, why don't you go first, and then and then Rebecca, and then I'll say what I thought.
I keep loving Paddy Constantine and being frustrated with Viserys, because he reminds me in a certain sense to Tsar Nicholas II, the last Romanov Tsar of Russia that was killed, because he was a good family man. He loved, you could tell that he adored his family. He loved his wife, he loved his daughters and his son, but he was not a good Tsar. He was not a good king, and because he was never trained to be a king. I think that's basically the same thing that happens with Viserys. I don't think he ever, I think because Jaehaerys had so many children, and he was, thank you, Teflon. Hey, boo, how you doing?
Your price just went up for the next video you need edited, Tony. But thanks.
But as I was saying, because Jaehaerys had so many children, he had so many heirs, it took a gigantic council to be able to decide on one. And by the time the council was decided, Jaehaerys was already on his way out. There was no time for him to train anyone to be king, and plus, I'm pretty sure Rhaenys was the one that got the training. Because she was the eldest surviving grandchild, so she was the one that got the training, and Viserys was just like doing his thing.
Yeah.
So now, it's been like 9 years since he became king, and there's been peace. But that peace, I think those 9 years of peace are, and if you hear my dog, that's probably because my stepmom is coming back home. But oh my god, what's he saying? Goddamn dog. What's he saying?
I like the connection to Tsar Nicholas because of his
the
compassion.
peace, how he's had 9
Yeah.
years of peace.
The peace, the 9 years of peace was basically a holdover from Jaehaerys. I don't think that was really Viserys' doing.
Yeah.
That was just basically like the echo of Jaehaerys' reign, and now that echo is ending.
He thinks that if he doesn't start a war won't happen. But his pacifist approach to it is going to cause that war. Yeah,
it's like, and he doesn't have that balance of a good king, which is care for his people and decisiveness. You can tell that all decisions really come from Otto. We'll talk about Otto later, but basically, to me, Otto is what would happen if Tywin and Littlefinger had a disturbing baby boy. So, because you can see the scheming, and you can see the power, and you can see the ambition, and the very, very thin skin that he has. Only, unlike Tywin, Otto does. I mean, sorry. We'll talk. I'll talk a little more about Otto later. But basically, Tywin and his Tywin with Littlefinger.
Yeah,
that's how I see it.
Tywin saw a weak king in Joffrey, so he took action. Otto sees Viserys as weak, so he takes action. But
unlike Joffrey, who's a child, and his grandson Viserys is an adult and already king in a Targaryen, so he has to maneuver his way more.
Oh yeah, that's a good point.
Like Littlefinger.
You can't send him away. Yeah, you're right. You can't send him to bed without dinner.
I want to say hi to Tony. Hi, Tony. Tony's got a great channel, and I just want to do a shout out to him. And he's going to be coming on our show in a few weeks. He's seen. Tony, have you seen just 3 episodes? Have you seen 6? Because he got some screeners. So.
Oh.
Just let me know what you.
And get to more or less finish my thought. What my comparison to Tsar Nicholas was so indecisive because he had so many bad influences. His father was a bad influence.
His uncle was terrible.
His uncle was horrible, and his grandfather, who was considered a good king because he technically freed the serfs, was killed by the serfs. So he really did not have a good role model to be able to model themselves after. He didn't have Catherine the Great, let's say, for someone. So, and I mean, considering how I would like to think, because you all know what happened during Tsar Nicholas's coronation?
Yeah, everybody got
the giant massacre. Yeah. There was a massacre that not a massacre, but like
it was
horrible,
like a
stampede. Yeah, it was like a stampede where like 1,500 people died on coronation.
Yeah,
and
because they heard there was prizes.
Yeah, they thought there's gonna be beer and pretzels or something to celebrate his coronation, and they had like enough for like 500 people, and like actually 3,000 people showed up.
Yeah,
and these were not just any 3,000 people. These were 3,000 starving people because the goddamn government did not give them food, and were just taking everything from them. it's a whole thing.
And then they went
But-
to meet the French ambassador at a ball and then prayed for the people after, and everybody saw them as heartless. So I think it is a good connection because his compassion throughout his reign, that's an ongoing theme of him being a good guy, but a bad ruler.
Exactly. He's a good king with bad advisors. And he is not strong enough to go against them. Like the one time he goes against his advisors is declaring war. Is during the First World War. That was his one moment of leadership, and it was
He
a
lost
really
to the
bad
Japanese
one.
before that.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, he did it
he
twice,
was cut. I mean, he was cut across the chest, I think, with a sword because he was that bad.
They did that after.
And also the Sino-Japanese War.
Yeah.
Like,
Hi, Reflective Rambling. Just want to say hello to her, my girl.
That's a really good
oh hey
person.
girl. But yeah, basically, to me, Viserys, his love for his family, like Star Nicholas, is proving his downfall because he just cannot wrangle in Daemon. Like Daemon, point blank, defied his direct orders, and instead of going to his wife, he just locks himself in Dragonstone, which is actually his daughter's seat because she's the princess of Dragonstone, with his mistress and an army of gold cloaks, and he does nothing until, spoilers, Daemon steals the egg meant for his son, and that was, and we're gonna get into it later, but that was such an obvious ploy.
Yeah,
was,
indecisive. So forced to let the people that are counseling him rule for him. I agree.
Yeah, I have rambled long enough. Continue. Everybody else, thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
Becks.
Sorry,
Yeah.
I was muted. I meant to say let's let Rebecca talk. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's a very good correlation. Although, yeah, like I mean, I personally blame all of this on Jaehaerys. Like, this whole thing was always a mess from Jaehaerys, from the first Great Council, from the second Great Council. Like, just because he didn't want a girl sitting on the Iron Throne. Like, so this is all his fault. But yeah, I agree with you. Like, he probably never got proper ruling. The one thing I can't remember from the books, because I know he had a different hand at first, but I mean, it's regardless. Like, in the show, it's like, it's Otto Hightower running the show, which Viserys is more than happy to let him do. I mean, his whole like indecisiveness, or like he just kept going when the marriage question came up. And just going everybody possible, like waiting to hear for someone to say, no, you don't have to get married again, which he knew deep down, like, his lack of communication with his daughter. The first time I watched it, I totally missed the whole conversation. Well, we'll talk about Alicent later, but yeah, I mean, Patty Constantine is doing an amazing job. Like, I definitely would like to sit down and look at that amazing Valerian, like the model of Valeria. Like, it's great, but that's all he's doing is playing with his toys.
Like a guy that loves his kids so much that they starve because he never went to work.
Yeah, well, what I was going to say about all of this is that it's sort of typical that oftentimes something, and this is obviously when they want to build up some tension and some conflict, is everything could have been solved with a conversation, right? Like they could have like taken care of it by just having Viserys tell his daughter that he is going to choose Alicent as opposed to the young daughter. Sorry, what was her name again? Lena, yeah, but they're just to announce it at the council like that, and shock everybody, and then also sort of create some division between him and Corlys. So it's one of those things I honestly think, and also the fact that he's kind of going with his own whim as opposed to what's probably best for, the dynasty. Everyone said that Lena was a good match, and yet and creepy aside, whatever, that's just really gross to me, but it is a good match, like, politically speaking.
And that wouldn't be obscene for the times either. Let's be clear that, they were betrothed as early as 4 years old. They usually wouldn't meet till they're 12 or 13. Then they would wait till they're 17, supposedly. But yeah, that's a good point.
She said 14. She said 14.
No, I'm talking about in real life though. Like
no. Oh no, yeah. But in the show it was 14.
Yeah, marrying for love is not an option of a monarch. You marry for state. Mm-hmm. So, that's a very good point. That's Heidi. That this is the clear decision to make. It's to set Corlys to be complacent at your side, because you don't want that dog coming and nipping at you.
Well, and even someone said this, I don't know if it was on Twitter or even just I was thinking it while I was watching it. Obviously, to have Alicent alone in his bedchamber with that would be like highly irregular to do something like that. In fact, it probably would be even damaging to her as a young maid. And Otto would not do that, in my opinion, and we're not talking about him yet, unless he believed that she would marry him. At least that's what I think.
There'd be at least an onlooker chaperone of sorts there, because it could tarnish her reputation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because that's all you had was your maidenhead or whatever it's called, right?
Even Princess Diana's uncle and father vouched for her virginity, and that was in 90s something. Yeah, so it's disgusting. Yeah, so
I would say though, well, I mean they obviously don't have like all the cast of characters that would be accompany a young girl into for sake of argument, I mean, like, just in the show, like, outside of like kind of like real life things, like I personally think Otto is that much of a scumbag that, I mean, I think he probably knew his daughter well enough, but I think Otto is enough of a scumbag that if that was what that king wanted, he absolutely would have let that happen.
Oh, I agree. Like, let's say if it came to him wanting to sleep with her, I think that he would have been like, yeah, sleep with him, of course. But I don't know that he would take that gamble unless he thought that there would be a payoff for it.
Yeah, and I think he knew well enough that Viserys, like, he's only like kind of a grosso.
I wanted to do a public service announcement this week, by the way, to ask Otto to wash his hair.
Well, but to be fair, though,
the
way they view marriage is to have the most advantageous match for their daughter, because they look at that as the greatest gift. So what better than it? So in his the most important thing about story is not sympathy, but empathy. Understanding, not agreeing with what a character does, but understanding that that's in believing, meaning, coming under that suspension of disbelief there in saying, I understand that this guy thinks that's the right thing to do, this disgusting thing, because this is the type of world he lives in and this is the type of person he is. He thinks that is a good thing to do. Right? Like, he thinks that that's actually given, I mean, especially with their American Idol style of electing kings and announcing heirs, like up on stage and doing it. That's kind of, again, so very interesting.
I was going to say, I'm not a historian. I always say this, always not a historian. Right. But normally even if someone is betrothed or there's a marriage or whatever, it doesn't mean the marriage is consummated. Right. Oftentimes the children would live with the family, for a while until they came of age. Usually. And one of the main reasons is that because they knew how dangerous it was for a young woman to get pregnant. Yeah. So, like, for instance, Emma was 11 when she was married, but I don't think they consummated the relationship until, like, he was 13, I think.
Yeah, Margaret Beaufort,
I think, was 13, and Emma was 11. So, or Emma. Is it Emma or Emma?
They said Emma.
Emma, okay.
But I want to say Emma.
I want to say Emma. It's kind of like Aegon, right? Like,
yeah, exactly.
Let's have a small council meeting and say Emma right now.
By the way, I'm not going to say Rhaenys because it sounds like anus, and I mentioned this before. So I know some people say Rhaenys. George says Rhaenys, so I'm gonna stick with
I
that.
say
He also
Rhaenys.
says
I say-
Dothraki, so let's
He
not really
does.
follow his lead.
And that's awesome.
Rhaenys.
I mean, for some reason, there are some names that they're not pronouncing the A, like Rhaenyra. They say Rhaenyra. They don't say Rhaenyra. I noticed that. They say Daemon, but they don't say Rhaenyra.
Well,
Yeah, it's
Or
funny
Emma.
because I have a problem, Rhaenyra. I have a problem saying her name. I don't know what it is. It's like a real mouthful for me, or I have ADHD
two
or something.
R's. It's 2 R's.
I having a problem talking about Rhaenys and Rhaenyra. Like
Yeah.
I will at some point I will screw up Rhaenyra's name when I've been saying Rhaenys. Like, and I guess they said, wait, do I say Rhaenys or Rhaenys? Rhaenys.
I say Rhaenys because I think Rhaenys is like anus, like anus, like it's like anus, not anus, like.
Well, let's go on to Alicent or Alicent.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
I as always I'm derailing the conversation.
No. I'm just.
Well,
trying to-
do we have any clothing from Jaehaerys? I mean, he was pretty much wearing the same thing the whole time.
You mean Viserys?
What did I say?
You said
Jaehaerys.
Jaehaerys.
Oh, Viserys.
I didn't catch
They all
that.
rhyme. By the way, speaking of this, us just chatting about names, have you seen some of the reviews where some of the reviewers got really angry about the names that they're all sort of the same? I kind of like it. I kind of think it's like, I could see George going, okay, I'm going to start off with this and I'm going to create my own word, words, like, I don't know, what's the expression? Etymology or something.
Yeah.
Etymology, yeah.
Entomology, yeah. So I don't know, Tatiana, what do you think? I'm kind of like, I'm not sure. I'm kind of like, I'm having some issues with the costumes this week. I'm like, my brain is hurting a little bit about it.
I think it's a marked improvement from the first episode.
Mm-hmm.
The bunching and the wrinkling wasn't as evident this episode as the first.
Oh, you're talking about the women though, but what do you think
Yeah,
of
the women.
Viserys's
The
outfit?
men.
The men are
I
pretty
liked
good, I think. Yeah.
I mean, I honestly, the men are solid. For the most
agree.
part, the men are solid. And I did like his costume. I mean, I think it's like the only costume that he wears this episode, right?
It is, and one of the things, and it like I was mentioning earlier before we came on, that there's this site called I don't want
Far,
to tell
Far
you guys
Away.
because it's a secret. Okay, she stole it.
I'm
You can go
sorry.
there and look at like really great high definition images, and the sort of the trim. It looks great because it kind of has that scale like quality to it.
Yeah, it looks like chainmail almost.
Yeah, it does. It has a bit of an armor feel. So I think the men's costumes are solid. I agree. I'm just a bit sad
I
about
realized I realized I have a bigger general problem with all the costumes that I have so far seen, and it's
Okay.
more than just individual.
Sure.
And
I
it's
think-
and there's part of the problem is yes, there are kind of all over the place because there are so many eras being referenced. We've seen Elizabethan, we've seen Curdles, we've seen frogs, we've seen all things. We even seen from the future, like from Game
Yeah.
of Thrones, which
Oh yeah.
is it's girl. I'm not gonna get girl, you know how I get about that. But more than that, and this is like what really grinds my gears because it's like what I love the most about costumes. Outside of Alicent and maybe Daemon, maybe there's a hard maybe. I am not seeing the character story being told through the costume.
I was gonna, in my little expertise from editing your video, Heidi, I have recognized that in the original series you had a lot more flamboyant kings, meaning like more, not that might be, but more out there. Like Joffrey, like had like very decorative sleeves all the time.
Oh yeah.
Cersei obviously dressed to impress and dressed very, to intimidate, almost like used it as a tool. I think that Viserys, by the nature of his character of him being a meek man, right? He has a meek out. He always looks very bland. Like I said, this episode, I showed the pictures when you guys were talking. He has one outfit, but it's sometimes with a coat, sometimes without, and that coat has that trim. That trim is like Joffrey's sleeves. Like they were very flamboyant isn't the right, but what would be the right word like for
By
them?
the way, did you guys notice this? And maybe I just noticed this in some of the images. Do you find that Patty does a slouched over? Like his head always looks like it's like he's cowering. He's got this weight on him. Like he's an amazing actor, right?
It's like his whole goal is to never get laid, and that's how you would act. Like
well,
that
and
is
also
it.
this is the other thing, like, and I mentioned this because the Dragon Demand said, oh, they're going to do de-aging, but they didn't do de-aging, so he looks really old. Like, he really does.
That Targaryen hair does not look good after a certain age. Like, even Rhaenys, like, who is a gorgeous woman, like, looks so much older than she is in real life. And obviously, like, Rhaenys is in the books and the show, like that white blonde hair like really ages people.
Eve Best,
it does, because it kind of gives them almost like
Best.
a Mr. and Mrs. Claus kind of look, right?
Which is very sexy. Let's not like undermine that.
You could be sexy.
No, but Rebecca has a point here, because I didn't recognize until today when I was looking up pictures, Heidi, for this, that she was the same actress from Nurse Jackie.
Yeah,
I didn't recognize her because she is the sexy doctor in Nurse Jackie. Now that was like a few years ago, whatever, but she still looks pretty damn good, and she does that hair. It's a no-go.
I mean, like, to me, I think she looks fantastic, but she also like automatically.
By the way, when we're saying hair, it's not the person's hair.
No,
it's
the wigs.
We're talking about the wigs. Yeah.
I mean, that's her hair.
The actor has brown hair. She's a brunette.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
But the wig. Yeah, I mean, it's just like after.
Oh my God, Tony. Well, I didn't even know this, but according to Asun, she said that they actually went with different colors of silver. Like the wigs were all different colors, and some of them were even like had a bit of a tint in them, like a bit of green or.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
I don't
heard
really
they were
know.
Greenish with the color.
But
grading.
you can't maybe know because then they went and did like a color grading on it. So, oops, sorry guys.
I'm waiting. I have not gotten. I mean, like, there's some like articles out there about the effects and like the dragons, but I'm waiting for like the real nerd shit to come out about like. I have to. I know last week someone who was on the live stream was talking about like not being happy with like the color grading, and I thought it looked great.
Really?
The last week when we were in the stream.
Oh,
I like now I'm on the it is. It's a little like Dragonstone looked a little dull to me, but we can save that. But
I love the shots of Dragonstone, especially the shot of the bridge with the sun in the background and the mist. I was like, yes.
Yeah, like the mist was great, but also at the same time, like that still could have looked a lot more interesting.
It could have looked more real. That didn't look like Game of Thrones to me. That looked fantasy. That looked like B-list fantasy to me, if I'm being honest. That took me out of it. That was the one scene that took me out, that bridge scene.
Yeah, Trevor's correct in that.
The CGI on it, because that definitely was all done on green screen. Because like the bridge that they use for the reference, like there's no way they can actually like film on that bridge. And like there is definitely a shot with Otto and gang coming, and it's just like, ooh, that was a really hard key. But that's like a hard lighting to replicate in artificial situations. But I derailed us.
Let's go to Alicent, though. Let's go to Alicent.
Okay, let's do Alicent.
Because Alicent is somebody
let's not do her, but let's talk about her.
If it's good for the realm. But okay, so we have Alicent here, and I've always been sympathetic towards the Greens. I've read the books. I mean, I'm not like in love with them. I mean, some of the things they do are atrocious, but I think there is some blind Targaryen love because of Dany, and I love Dany too, and I'm all for the Targaryens. It's not like I hate them, but I'm quick to see both sides, and I don't know. That's my take on it. I think Alicent is being played wonderfully by this young actress that I'm blanking on her name, and I think that she is. I think that her nervous tick of picking her fingernails is very I think that's good layering for the character. I think her relationship with Rhaenyra, and we'll get to that after, but it does play into this, is good because they do seem to have different perspectives clearly, but they are still having a closeness. But it's like, if you have one friend, is that your best friend? Because she's a noble girl at court that's being, like, you know, kept in concealment because of her father, essentially. You know, she goes pretty much where she's allowed, and that's not many places. So I don't know, thoughts on her and her development, because this is somebody that is going to become, you know, spoiler alert, but most people aren't big Alicent fans, you know, at the end of the story.
Well, I definitely think, talking from the books, like, you know, Alicent's not a very well fleshed out character in the books. I mean, like to a certain degree, like, you know, none of these characters are very fleshed out. Like, we didn't have like 5,000 plus page tomes to like tell this story and get into it. And, you know, and I'm not the biggest Daenerys fan for sure, but I definitely, like, I'm much more team Black, mostly because, you know, I want to see a woman sit on this throne. But I do really like what they're doing with Alicent's character. It's not going to be a slam dunk. I think by like the end of this season, like, I think people who were fans of the Black faction are totally going to be on the green side, because like you're going to have power players on every side. No one is like an outright hero. But I feel very badly for Alicent in the situation that she's in. She was told very specifically, don't tell Rhaenyra that we're having these be like, so she can never even like go to her best friend, maybe girlfriend, and say, by the way, you know, this is what's going on. And I actually think she does have a genuine connection with Viserys. Like, I do think that they are like genuinely bonding over like their shared grief. Is it weird and creepy? Yes. But, you know, I think she found a way, even though it was her father's machinations. She doesn't want to do it. But I do think there is like a genuine affection between the two.
Could I interject, Bex, to touch on what exactly you just said? Did you guys notice the look on her face once she gives the stone, you know, the fixed piece of the miniature, you know, to Viserys, when they're interrupted? She is like, it's like she's pissed, she's disgusted, like, because I think you're right, she's making the move that because I don't think she ever thought, she said in another episode, might as well get on with it, when they talked about somebody getting married, she didn't ever probably think she was going to choose her own husband, right? Like, so like one's been chosen for her, so she's going to get on with it. And now she's doing this with this, like, you know, trinket or whatever, guys, and when they get interrupted, she's got a straight like pissed face, like, you know, like, yeah, look, watch it. Yeah, the episode, it's very,
I'll watch it again.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, maybe it's. I know it's very distinct
because
like,
they were interrupted and it
yeah,
sort of
because
ruined the
like
mood.
she made her play, like, if you give somebody play, right, you know, and I thought that was very interesting,
Yeah.
very good by the actors as well. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, I gotta look her up.
No. I mean, like, I was saying it last week, like, and maybe I was being a little flippant about it when you know, I think she 100% knew what she was doing the minute that Otto sent her to Viserys, like the night that his wife died, or maybe it wasn't the night, but, you know,
Soon after.
Yeah, and whereas like Otto would probably have been, whatever the king wanted would have been fine, and like had the king been intimate with her, then he would have hung it over his head, and it's like, well, now you have to marry her. And I thought she was very wise and very smart to play it in such a way that you know, she did it on her terms, and, you know, and like you're saying, yeah, like she never was going to marry for love. She was going to have to marry somebody, and, you know, but it's very lonely and very isolating, and like, and that's like a theme with both our young teenage girls, like how isolated they are in this episode for very different reasons. So
yeah, I was going to say that it's sort of like, again, I think a conversation would have helped a lot. Like, so for instance, if Alicent, like obviously a lot of stuff is going on behind the scenes that we're not privy to. So they made this decision. I'm pretty sure if I were Alicent, I would have said to Viserys, listen, before you make an announcement, can I go talk to Rhaenyra about it? You know, and let her know.
I mean, or she should have told him, like, yeah,
Or can
okay.
you please tell her?
But
We
I
never
don't-
see them discuss the marriage, to be
No.
fair.
Yeah, I think that was like decided between him and Otto off camera.
Yeah.
She
Okay.
could have found out at that moment.
If I could say my 2 cents,
Yeah.
I don't think Alicent knew that she was going to be chosen to marry him.
Oh, okay.
I do not.
That's
If you see her face when Viserys makes the announcement, she's as shocked as Rhaenyra is.
Yes.
To me,
Well-
like what he said to her was, "Don't tell Rhaenyra about our seeing each other in this room." He never said, "Don't tell Rhaenyra that we're getting married."
No, yeah,
I don't think-
he didn't. Yeah, you're right. But I think because like there's that whole misdirect like with Lena, because that was the last conversation. Like don't tell Rhaenyra about the conversations, and then there was the other conversation where he was like they were talking about Lena. And I think she was at that point like, oh, okay, he's going to marry her, because that would have been the most politically advantageous of the marriages. Like it would have been, a stronger marriage. Let's not talk about the ages. But, so I think that was like her surprise, because I think prior to that, she thought he was going to go. Yeah, I don't think she knew. I don't think, but I think she knew that was like where Otto was trying to push her.
Yeah. I also about Alicent, and I got this thought just now. I think she's very much like a younger Emma. Like in the sense, I think that's how Viserys sees her, because again, it's only been 6 months since the love of his life, Queen Emma, died. And based on how Alicent acts around him, that she's very demure, she's very sweet, and comparing that to Emma, who you could tell in the bath scene, she also like was listened to Viserys and like counseled him and was very kind and very sweet with him. I think he sees her as a younger Emma, as a second chance to rectify what he did to his wife to this new one. I think that's how he sees her. He doesn't see the machinations of Otto, of course, because he's too emotional and too trusting to see that. Now, whether that's on purpose or just how Alicent is, I think it's both yes and no. I think Alicent is a good and sweet person, or she wants to be, but she's also, if there's something that we've seen in these last 2 episodes, is that women don't have choices. Women don't have a choice. Women are leaves on a river that are carried down the stream to wherever the hell they end up.
It's like I was thinking about the Cersei line when she's talking to Oberyn, and she's like, all over the world, little girls get hurt. And she's been trained for this, in some way, like, she's been trained in these like court niceties. She's been trained to be like a nice, sweet, demure woman. She's been trained to like, eventually like be someone's wife. Now, we'll get, when we talk about Rhaenyra, I'll say my bit about that.
Learn to control what you can and let go of what you can't, right? She controls what she can. Decisions are made. It's libertarian determinism, meaning things happen to us. We're reactionary creatures. Things happen to Alicent, so she can only control what happens after that. This decision was made. She can do the best she can with it. That is her perspective. So
That's
let's
a
go.
good way to put it.
Every 10 opinions, I get one. Okay, let's go to
Prashant, what are you talking about?
what is it?
Oh, Prashant just put a comment, and I just don't know what that's about. But
Great story. Extraordinary great story. Extraordinary screenplay. Awesome VFX. Epic dialogues. Low budget, ugly actors. Oh man, that's a hot take
Ouch.
there, buddy. Low budget, ugly actors. I wish they should have gotten some of those high budget, ugly actors. But yeah, that's an interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. Who is he talking about? Are they talking about something else?
I would imagine they shouldn't be. I mean, if they are, they're so wrong because they shouldn't be speaking about something else. What else would they be talking about? I don't know. It sounds like they.
It was ugly.
Yeah, I think
don't know.
that the costumes make some of them not look the best, but that's okay. Let's.
I mean, are we gonna talk about the Alicent's costume? Because it was my favorite.
Yeah, I forgot. Yeah, I keep forgetting this. The costume channel. Go ahead.
It was my girl. You got to pay for this.
I'm fired after that. Damn it.
Oh, we got a couple.
Honestly,
Wait,
so far, it's my favorite. It's my favorite costume of the show so far. My favorite dress so far. I really love this. I love the textures and the way the fabric was cut and placed. Mwah. And that's why I said that everyone outside of Alicent is not getting their story told through costumes. Because compare between last episode and this episode, I can already see a transition with her. Like when she's introduced, she's in this light blue costume. It's light blue dress that is, at least for me, reminiscent of Sansa's dress that she makes in the King's Road, where she's trying to emulate Cersei for the first time, and it's like ill-fitting. And if you remember Heidi, that is like she's trying to look a bit more like Cersei, and that does display like her youth and her innocence. And it's not until we get to her going to Viserys that she starts wearing the low shoulders and the darker colors. That already tells me something, and I'm not getting that from the rest of the fucking characters. I don't know why Rhaenyra wears what she wears. Other than Targaryen colors and she likes it. I don't know why her style is like that. And I'll save this for when we talk about Rhaenyra. But basically, I don't know what this is telling me about the characters. I mean, the yellow dress from last episode was not good to the point where I had to design something just to fix it. So, because like I like to think the captive, the cobra sleeves that we see on, like, I think Rhaenyra's funeral dress and like Dany's costumes in Game of Thrones.
Mm-hmm.
I like to think that those are from Old Valyria. That those are influences from Old Valyria that has like that is, it's kind of like it's like the Valyrian version of ancient Greek clothing, like or Greek drapery, like that has, you know, transcended the test of time. And that's why you can see it both in Rhaenyra's costumes in King's Landing, and you can see it in Karth, because Karth used to be a Valyrian colony. And that right there, that tells me a story. I think if they could use those sleeves more, it could, even at least for me, could tell a story that could be really interesting. But they're not doing that, and it bothers me.
Yeah, I'm just. I think. Did we lose Rebecca?
She's just in audio, so she probably just had to take it.
I agree with Tatiana about Alicent's dress. I think is probably the best female costume so far, and it has those textures. Someone said to me, it's like kind of like a silk seersucker, but it has like almost like a bit of a scale look to it, like a bit of a dragon texture, and she's kind of leaving the she's sort of leaving the Hightower color, which is like a smoky gray, I think, and moving more kind of, is she moving into the greens? Like Tatiana, you mentioned in the last week that gown that she wore, her mother's gown, wasn't quite black. It probably had a little bit green in it, right?
Yeah, no, I saw a picture of it on Google.
That
is
actually,
green.
I have to
It's
say though,
like
I love that. I love that costume.
Yeah, no, it's actually like dark velvet.
Dark
Because
velvet.
I
Yes,
saw
like
it.
it is. I don't know how do you just. It's like
It's a dark green velvet.
I think that these series all need a color wheel because it's always unclear.
Well, I was going to say Rhaenyra's color. I think she's doing it's like sort of calling to her dragon, like Caraxes. Is that how you say it? Although I have to say this, I'm not crazy about the color. I don't know. It's supposed to just be earthy, I guess. And
I think
it's just, to me, it's just kind of okay. Like, I don't know.
And honestly, this is probably, and this is gonna sound great, but this is probably like my favorite Rhaenyra costume. Mainly because I mean you know I'm a total slut for dragon scale embroidery or anything. Those dragon scale because it just looks so fucking cool.
Yeah. They're done I think they're done in felt. My favorite for hers is the coronation, like not the coronation, the fealty gown.
Outside of the dresses.
Yeah.
Outside of the dresses.
As far as the dragon riding, I have no problem, she needs to ride, she needs to have lots of movement. They've gone with trousers, which I thought was an interesting choice. Because Dany wore trousers, but that's because she was a horse rider. So they've kind of, it's weird. Like there's this weird in-universe thing where they're calling back to Dany, but Dany actually, everything she wears is part of her journey. And so we don't have that journey here. So we don't really know why they wear what they wear. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and a lot of them, I'm thinking after the time jump, we might get more of that because their clothing, I'm assuming, would not be so. I mean, we've seen it dictated to Alicent directly. But also, what do we all crave? We crave what is familiar but new but familiar. It's the paradox, of that.
Yeah. We touched on that on one of the videos. Like I said, I don't know, like I was saying to Justin, I'm kind of a little bit defeated about this show right now. It's probably going to be I'm probably going to go I feel like I was kind of up here and now I'm kind of down here. I have a feeling I'm going to hit rock bottom before I kind of come back up again about this whole thing. And I think the time jumps are probably going to really create some havoc for my brain. Because we just jumped 6 months and then the next episode, this is based in the
probably
trailer.
2 years.
It's a couple of years. Yeah. Because they've gotten married. They've had a baby. That baby is, how old is that? That's not even a baby.
He looks like 1 or 2 years old.
It's a toddler.
So there's quite a time jump. So I'm gonna have some emotional meltdown, probably crying into my pillow kind of thing. Tatiana, I'll call you.
From the critics though, Heidi, that have had this screen, that's almost, I think it's unanimous. Across the board, it's this episode they considered to be the low point. But I think the quote that I can cite is that, but going back after watching to the 6th episode, most critics say that they wouldn't get rid of this episode. So remember that as well, that this is them getting to where they need to go in a story. And they'll never have the character development that Game of Thrones proper, the first series had, HBO, not the Song of Ice and Fire, because that was a different, this is a fairy tale in that world. Okay, this is like a telling of a story within that world. It's not, Game of Thrones had so much development with all of these things happening behind the, behind the scenes with the White Walkers and all that. But Jon just having to go and dealing with whites, the Night's Watch and so forth. You have so much more of a grind there. So a lot of these characters, even in their younger age, are already who they are in a lot of senses. You know what I mean? They're going to change, but this is a story depicting what happened within these events that we already know. So I think that we should not really expect to see the Daenerys build of dress, like how her story is solely reflected within her beautiful score and her wardrobe, right? Because this is a story about a civil war that ignites over the decisions we just saw that got made, right? Mm-hmm. So they're getting to that and we're going to get it. It's going to be a lot of fun. It's not the same thing. It's not because it's bad. It's because it's a lot of fun. It's different.
I think what Justin's saying, I think it is taking us on a journey, and we are like, I guess it's just like there's been a lot, especially as a woman watching this. It's really difficult. Like, I don't know how you guys feel. I find it difficult as a woman to watch this, and I just want to say
I find it
one
difficult to
thing.
watch it as a woman. It's what I'm trying to struggle with. I'm trying to get
You're
there.
part woman. No,
All right.
I was just gonna say
You're honorary woman.
you're an honorary woman. I was just going to say one thing that kind of irked me, and I don't know what you guys think about this. I'm probably just being sensitive, but I watched behind the episode, and they have a couple of guys who are the showrunners, you know, talking about the patriarchy and the experiences that these young women are going through. And then they go to the crew, and all the crew are a bunch of white guys from England, and you know, everyone's talking except for the cast. So they do have the cast, but I was kind of like going, what happened to the women writers? What happened to the women behind the scenes? I would have loved to have had like a female perspective, just like in there. Like, I don't know, am I overreacting? You guys can tell me in the chat if you
No,
think I'm
you are
overreacting.
not.
Okay, thank you.
You are not. There was a little bit. I felt it more in the first episode when they were they were giving themselves a big pat on the back for the C-section, where it's a little bit like, you know, I know that they're writers, they're women writers in the room. I was reading, I think it was like an LA Times article where they screened it a lot to specifically women to like get it right, but there is a little pat on the back about like, look at what we're doing for to fight the patriarchy, and it's like, okay, like,
Calm down.
Yeah, I
thanks,
read this
Miguel.
article about
Thanks,
this one
Brian.
woman who was having she you know, because I didn't tell you guys this, but you know, I had postpartum depression years back, and I couldn't watch anything with any kind of violence. Like, I couldn't watch like Law and Order or any of those shows. And I remember there was this one night we were having dinner, and right after the news, this show came on, and it showed like 3 children in a freezer, and I kind of like lost it. Like, I was like, oh my God, like, why would they show that at 7:00? And so someone was saying they didn't have a warning, for instance, about the C-section. And I was like, yeah, because like, you know, like last week when we had Vanessa on, and she was telling us her experiences, and then I had my experiences, and I was thinking, and what I thought was really interesting, and they said it would be one thing if women didn't die in childbirth, and we're not dealing with Roe v. Wade, but we are, and women do. So it made it that much more impactful, I think, to be a woman. And as you say, Rebecca, to kind of pat yourself on the back. Oh, look what we did. Justin, sorry to...
No,
you
in
know.
a thematic sense, if you want to get like, you know, because I do like this series, but first off, that tourney was ridiculous with how they all just start killing each other. That would never happen. And the fact that they haven't fought for so long, they're just going to do that. And then they juxtapose that with that wonderful scene that was very well done with C-section. In the thematic sense, right, is that this is our war, birth, right? And this is their war. It's kind of a flawed take on that, in my humble opinion. I think that they didn't quite. I think that they think that that's a strong statement, but you have guys killing each other because they're bored for the patriarchy, and then you have women
And they want to.
Women dying for the patriarchy. You know, like it's
without agency, right?
Yes,
without
agency. That's so it's
yeah.
They are. I think they kind of like. They went to patting themselves on the back because they said we're going to do something righteous, and they forgot to make it righteous. But I'm not trying to crap on it too much, but I think that if you actually look at the details of it, it's a little bit flawed when it comes to the thematic. It is.
I just real quick, I want to say bye to AK. She's going to take off for the night. So
bye, Alicia.
Bye, Alicia.
Actually, somebody else was leaving too.
Hope you feel better.
Lady Starfelt.
Oh, Lady Starfelt. Yeah, we appreciate it.
I do have to say real quick, I did the live watch with Alicia on Sunday. That's super fun.
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
I want to join you guys one night to do that.
Yeah. I popped on her YouTube, and her usual cohort couldn't make it, so I did. So there was a lot of me like going like, especially with the maggots. The maggots was
okay.
a moment.
What do you guys think about this comment? I find it funny that you see men being castrated and decapitated, and people are okay with that. But the moment women are harmed, people care. Just violence against men just doesn't So am I reading that? Does violence against men just doesn't register?
It's
Don't know what
posed
you
as
mean by that.
I think he's talking about
Because
the scene with Daemon, right?
yeah,
like,
I mean,
it's unclear if they're guilty or not. It's supposedly like they're guilty. So the
Well,
farting, I never like flatulence, so just deplorable. But besides that, it's the situation is they're guilty, but it seems like they shot that weird.
And I think there's a little bit because they loaded episode 1 with so much stuff, and like and a lot of gratuitous violence. Like by the time we got to the flea bottom scene and like the Daemon gold cloak scene, it was just like I like at some point it's like we're just so desensitized.
I mean, it is Game of Thrones. Like,
Also, they did it off camera. They didn't actually like Emma. They cut her open on camera and she bled out on camera. Whereas those were done off camera.
Well,
No, some of it.
Well, like the testicles, like I mean, you were like
they showed them on the.
Well, you saw the guy's ass, but like there are definitely, and like even in the tournament, like there was like a lot of very direct to camera gore.
Yeah.
Like,
and even then, I didn't. That scene was pretty disgusting to me, regardless.
It was to me as well.
I mean, at least,
I just kind of was like, okay, like for me, it was kind of like. And I think I saw this in some of the reviews. I felt like they were like, okay, Game of Thrones did this, so we got to just, do it.
They did, but
more.
when a Vale knight dies, it's a huge deal, and they have like 6 knights die, spontaneous. And a guy throwing up, something about like also like bodily function. They did say, what is it here? Somebody puts about showing Daemon's capacity for violence. I think that that's what they're trying to accomplish there, and I think they did. A little bit heavy-handedly, though, but Viserys is afraid to act. Daemon's all too ready to act. And the Black Stag, Justin, much as Preston Jacobs, I see, if my opinions reflect his, that's an honor, sir. I have not seen him this season, though. I have not watched any. Heidi knows this. I have not been involved in watching like I used to, and that's why it's fun to come on here. But I haven't watched the after shows like I used to or anything. I've kind of disconnected a little bit. But I do love Preston Jacobs a lot.
I was going to say about Manus, I totally know what you're saying. Like, I totally agree with the violence perpetrated against men can be just as awful. I'm just saying that for the showrunners to be acting as though they are trying to portray the patriarchy as how it affects women, and yet they kind of like, and yet they don't have any women in the behind the scenes talking about the story that's being told. They are telling the story for women. They are not necessarily having women tell the story. So
they're mansplaining.
They're mansplaining, exactly. So I think most viewers, most people would be horrified at what happened to Theon. And also because he wasn't really a very likable character at the beginning. But as Reek, I think he was, we all rooted for him for sure. And then the scene that happened with Sansa was also with Reek. So that made it even doubly, horrific, right? Especially since it was told from his point of view. I mean, we don't have to get into politics.
But you guys heard it first here. If you want to be likable, do what Reek did. Do what Reek did. That's the sure way to get people behind you.
I mean, this show is like, it's covering so many things, right? It's just covering so many things. And that first episode is like, we got to get it right out of the gate. We just got to do it. Let's do it, everybody. Let's have the sex. Let's have the violence. Let's have the terrible French accent,
What do you mean?
And also, like, in maybe also a little bit, like, everyone is focusing on that big scene with, like, from the first episode with, like, the tourney and the birth, where to a certain degree, like, another, another flaw of our system is that, here we are only talking about the rich and the nobles and how they're affected. But then the flea bottom scene was almost such a throwaway scene. And at that point we were already like,
we weren't seeing the flea bottom scene to sympathize. Well, it was less to sympathize with the common folk and more to see Daemon's brutality.
Yeah.
Like we were horrified because, oh my God, Damon, how can you do that? Not, oh my God, these poor people.
And it kind of had it didn't have a bit of a Trump thing to it. Didn't you find that? Like, they're, these people they're murderers. These people are rapists. Like, it kind of had a bit of a right-wing alt kind of feel to it. The fact that he's just throwing that out there.
People in Plea Bottom have told me, Heidi. Some of the best dirty people, bad people.
There's gay people on both sides.
You saw
maybe they're okay, but I don't know. They seem despicable to me. I don't know.
Like, I definitely want to get a shirt that says "All gold cloaks are bastards."
Yeah. Oh man, it's not at all.
Oh yeah, no.
You bring up really good points. Like this should be discussed, especially with a show as violent as Game of Thrones was, and Hot D, because I'm gonna call it Hot D for now on.
Yeah, I think
Hot D is.
I think what I was just trying to explain is that because you don't tend to hear of men being castrated and beheaded, whereas women still do have babies. I think that's where I was trying to go with that. Is that there are still women having C-sections. There are still women who die in childbirth. And
also comparing the C-section to this tourney scene is again, to reiterate what Heidi and Beck have said, these men go into a tourney knowing what they're getting into. They know what a tourney is. It's not the first tourney they've been to, for at least many of them. They know there's a good possibility that they're going to die because apparently violence is just rife in tourneys in this world.
It shouldn't be, though, to be fair. That is not really the
exactly. That's why I said, like, why? But
and also in the book, that this tourney was, like, noted in the book to being particularly violent. Like, this was an out of the norm tourney. Just
exactly, because they were just so full
even
of
the one in the Tourney of the
food.
Hand, I think we talked about this last week. I don't think there was that one scene where he's like, was it
the mountain
Gregor
lies the horse?
Yeah, Sir Hugh from the Vale.
By the way, I had
like,
somebody email me today. I had someone email me today named Gregor. I was like fangirling. I was like,
was
oh
it
my
about
God,
money that he needs
Gregor.
to get in the country?
No.
Because I can help that.
Or calling about extending your car's warranty.
No. It was a client.
Damn it. Oh my God. Please, if anybody contacts you about getting money, because sometimes, Heidi, they only need you to give them a little bit of money so you can get a lot.
Or there's a prince or something.
Yeah. Good people.
You guys, I'm just like, by the way, I'm almost out of my, like,
your
if
Caesar?
Just joining, I'm drinking Bloody Caesars.
Yeah, Bloody Caesar. You might have to switch to a Pompey.
And I'm out of Tabasco. Normally use Tabasco, but I got this stuff. Have you guys ever tried this?
Oh,
Frank's Red Hot. I put that shit on everything.
It's actually pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm not really into spicy food. I usually eat it like.
Really?
Well,
yeah. I'm getting better at it, but it's not my favorite. I like savory. I like flavorful things. Like I wouldn't be Puerto Rican if I didn't like flavorful things. But that doesn't always translate to spicy things.
Spice, what your taste receptors like respond to, it's paint. Spice is just like paint. hot spice is, it's just paint.
Yeah, which is
like for example, I love Indian cooking. I love Indian cuisine. I am terrified of the vindaloo. Like I will not go near.
Oh yeah.
I will not go near that with a 10-foot stick.
Did I tell you guys I worked on Hot Ones?
Oh, did you?
Yes.
Oh my God, I did not know that.
Cool.
Now I have a lot of questions. He's such a good interviewer. Did you work?
I worked on the game show. But him. Yeah, Sean. No, Sean's a great interviewer. He was a horrible game show host, but
oh really? Okay.
Yeah.
No, so Justin, what character were you? No, do we want to keep talking about Rhaenyra?
Yeah, we're gonna get the Rhaenys who's watching all of this, who is it seems to be like she's kind of like they think that they're in control when she realizes, she's kind of, because I can never believe the whole idea of like, oh, it didn't work out for me, so I hope it works out for somebody else. I believe there's always like a sense of like selfishness that we as human beings, I'm not really the most optimistic person. I can't believe that she's like, oh, maybe she'll be the first girl. I bet a part of her hopes that this will fail.
Oh,
I mean, that's that's just my opinion and my cynic view, by the way.
And this is the scene, and I love this scene, but I also hated the scene. But I also understand Yes, Rhaenys queen, and again, I will say the best Targaryen is always a Baratheon. But moving on,
I like that.
Oh, sorry.
like the one thing I had said earlier, it's like, you know, our two Rhaenyra and Alicent are in total isolation. And there's something where like Rhaenys is telling her all the hard truths. But the fact that it like came like they were the polite and saying the right words and like, yes, princess and da da, but you know, setting them up to be like, which like I think it's going to carry over like through the big time jump into like they're always going to be butting heads. Like it's like, why is it that every female character has to hate and be jealous of another female character?
Same reason we don't have a
Yes.
female president. They do
Yeah.
not like each other.
Did you guys?
Yeah.
Did it remind you at all of Sansa and
Arya.
Arya? Like, you know, the way
Oh!
Peter tried to, you know, Peter Baelish tried to sort of like, you know, conquer,
Yeah,
divide the two of
actually-
them.
Oh, I mean, yeah. Well, oh, you mean from Rhaenys and Rhaenyra?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm.
well, I guess just all the women are kind of isolated, right? They're all like kind of isolated. And again, I
By
feel like it could have been
competition.
yeah.
Yeah.
Women do not like each other. To be fair, I made a stupid little joke there, but to be fair, women like they vote for women presidents at like an all-time low demographic there. Like that pollsters show that like there's like a low amount of women that vote for it. Like there is a sense that you guys are I think you are very competent, very smart, but there is a competitive sense with the
Well,
females.
and that's also another, you know.
Are you talking about women not supporting women?
Yeah, it happens all the time. I mean,
I
it is
absolutely I kind of agree with that as well.
yeah.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that as well. And I'm not sure what it is. I don't know if it's like just tradition
I think you guys
or
are smart, so like you realize people suck.
I think it goes
Yeah.
back to the patriarchy. Honestly, it
Yeah.
goes back to the patriarchy. Like
It's 100%.
women have to compete with men to get half of the prices of the benefits, and with that comes mentality that the one true woman will prevail. You have that's why, like, and this is gonna sound tangential, but there's a point to it, I promise. That's why people like shit on characters like Cinderella, because Cinderella, women, because of patriarchy, we're told that we have to divorce ourselves from our femininity to be able to achieve an equivalency to male power,
Right.
because only the strong girl bosses will prevail.
Yeah,
And that's why the gentler emotions like compassion and kindness and sweetness, they're seen as weak, and that's why characters like Cinderella, at least especially Disney Cinderella, she just waits around for her prince. She does nothing. It's like when you actually see the movie of Cinderella with a modern mentality, you see it's actually pretty fucking progressive for its time. The original cartoon, I don't mean the remake. The remake is whatever its own thing. But this is a girl who has been abused from childhood. It's not that the stepmother arrived in her life when she was an adult and started abusing her, even though that has its own issues. She has been abused from childhood.
Yeah. To say a woman is strong because she's like a man is a disservice to women, too.
The only time we see her leave the house is to go to the ball. You never see her leave the house otherwise. You don't see her having friends. You don't see her having a support system. You only see her in the house. And I'm talking about not the original fairy tale or the Disney remake. I'm talking about the original Disney movie, like the original animated one. And for her to deal with all of that and still come out as well as justice as she is, that is
she lived heavy stuff.
Herculean. That is Herculean that she is she has enough strength of character to still have compassion and sweetness and kindness to even the lowest of creatures like mice.
Yeah, that's why I always had an issue with Brienne
That's why
Tarth, who swings
Tatiana
a
loves
sword.
Anna Green Gables so much,
What
by the
you know,
way.
swing a sword.
Exactly.
Like,
I love
oh,
Anna
that's a
Green
strong.
Gables.
That's not women empowerment. That Brienne is just as strong as a man. A man shouldn't be the example of what is good and better. You know what I mean? Strengths. There's plenty of other strengths. Sansa's strengths were constantly, and they still are. Book readers and everybody are discounted. Her ability to wait and be actually like strategic in her maneuvers and do things like, but oh, she doesn't go and kill everybody. It's like, yeah, because I guess men are what we should, I mean, that's just not a way. I totally agree.
Yeah,
Also,
and
all
people
Disney
say-
movies are disgustingly dark. All of them.
And also, people say, "Oh, she just waited. She just wanted to. She went to the ball to win the prince." Bitch, no, she did not.
Sorry,
She
she
went
can
to the
become a
ball.
magic person like Arya.
She
Sorry.
went to the ball because she wanted to have one good night, just one good night she just wanted to enjoy herself and have one night outside of her house where she can just enjoy herself. She just incidentally met this really hot guy that seemed to like really be into her. She danced with him. And he's like, "Hey, how you doing?" She didn't know he was a prince.
Hey, how you doing?
And honestly, if you have been isolated, basically locked in your house for years, for goddamn years, you go out one night and the first guy that looks at you says, hey baby, how you doing? And he's like, and you dance the whole night away. Wouldn't you be like, oh?
Well, number one, if I'm
Because
isolated
he's like
my
the
whole life,
first
the
guy
only
you
thing I'm
see.
gonna want to do is dance. I know
And
I need
also-
to dance.
And this is one of the things that bothers me about the remake as opposed to the original animated movie. When she gets locked in her room, into her tower, and the prince comes to the prince or the officers going to with the slipper arrive at the house. What does the remake Cinderella do? Nothing! She just sits there singing. It's the mice that do shit. In the original, she literally goes, oh my god. She literally goes to get she goes to get her slipper. She gets locked in. She's like, oh, the mice tell her the princess downstairs. Guys, she mobilizes the mice. She says, you go get the key, go get Bruno, do this. She becomes a fucking general. She becomes a fucking general so that she can get out. She is active.
Blitz, she's just using this as a metaphor.
I know this is a metaphor. This is very tangential, but this is what I'm talking. This is what I'm trying to explain to Heidi about why women are pitted against each other when they shouldn't be, and that's why I am happy that nowadays we see more and more examples and more depictions of women supporting each other, and why the campaign of women supporting women is stronger now than it has ever been.
Good movies like Snow White, right?
Which one? Which one of all of them?
They're all bad. It's a woman that gets drugged and a princess to kiss her to make her come back. It's a terrible dark story. But anyways,
I mean, there's a huntsman,
oh, you're talking
I guess.
Consent?
Yeah, it's just terrible. Disney.
I mean,
you could say that it's implied consent.
I mean, in the defense of the original story, he doesn't kiss her. The princess doesn't kiss her in the original fairy tale. He tries to move. He wants to like take her to his castle, and when they move the casket, the piece of apple that was lodged in her throat just pops out, and then she wakes up.
Oh, that's
no matter
really
what, it's a story about a guy that wants to like get with a girl that's like like dead
in
essentially.
A coma?
Yeah, so like there's problematic, but the Brienne thing, I'm not totally going against Brienne, but I'm saying there's too many shows of how women are strong through them being literally on the base level strong. And Brienne does. I love Brienne of Tarth. She does persevere, and she does against, and she has other qualities, but Sansa's qualities of
she's
sitting
great
there,
in the Sandman too.
But get what I mean? Like there are I feel that other strengths are very. I don't feel that's female empowerment. I don't feel like that's like the best way to go about it.
I mean,
the pen is mightier than the sword.
I feel that way, Justin. I feel that way more about Arya.
I'm against Arya actually. Yeah.
Oh, I love Arya, but there's a little bit like like Brienne actually is in a much different part of that journey, where Arya is just like she's just a little shit. She's a tomboy little shit, which is great. I love tomboy little shits, but that's all she is. At this point, I mean, now she's a fucking assassin, but
because of magic, which is a great inspirational story that's useful to women. Make sure to be magic and do everything you want. But Sansa had to go through everything and make it out herself. But anyways, there's all these different situations. Let's get the
let's go back to Hot D.
Yeah.
We have gone to the pageant of our lives.
Hot D, Daemon.
So
Talking about Hot D, Daemon.
Yeah, Hot Daemon.
I was just gonna say before we go on that if anybody hasn't seen The Sandman, it's great.
It is. I just finished watching it today.
Yeah, it's amazing.
I'm waiting till after my little
and it is so gay.
Trip.
Oh, it's so gay. I love it.
And the design,
so
Tatiana, you like the design?
I do.
Yeah, I really loved it.
It's really fucking good.
Yeah.
I love the costumes. I mean,
the actor who plays the Sandman, he's so otherworldly looking.
He's so sexy. I mean, he's so pouty. It's like I don't know if he's doing that on purpose or is that just his lips. But he's always
Cupid lips.
No matter what he does, he's always so pouty. He's like
my last name is Santini. They used to call me
every time he's like, oh, I'm like in the back of my mind, I'm just going, cry.
I kind of liked it because, a lot of actors always they're loud, and he never does that. He's always very soft spoken. It's like he goes, I don't need to be loud.
Although, am I the only one who thought he sounded like goddamn Voldemort? He sounds like goddamn Voldemort when he talks.
Well, I mean, Ray Fiennes has a very sort of refined.
Ray Fiennes is Ray Find.
He is Ray Fine, and Joseph is Josephine as well.
Okay, girl,
we're getting there.
Sorry, that's terrible. Okay, let's talk about Daemon. We've lost Rebecca; she'll be back.
We didn't even talk about Rhaenyra.
Okay, let's finish talking about Rhaenyra.
Okay, so she obviously is. We can't really. Let's just go to Daemon because we can talk about Rhaenyra within Daemon because Rhaenyra's big part comes from what happens with Daemon, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Daemon's a scamp, as scamps do, and he steals a dragon egg, and then he takes some Syria, right? Am I pronouncing that right? I've had a drink too. And claims he's married her, and I think there's a good message there as we're talking about representing empowerment and stuff like that, and how people can think they're being empowered.
That line actually felt like it was out of a rom-com. Like when she says, "Oh, she's pregnant," and then he goes, "Well, one day, or you're going to be a father." Oh, well, one day. It was, that sort of felt like it was out of a rom-com. Daemon is a scam, just like Trump.
Yeah, one of the worst. I've heard good things about the Prince of Dragonstone. Good guy.
I wish him the best. Yeah, I don't know what he did, but I wish him the best.
Everybody says all these things, but I've heard from top people, great people, that he's not a bad guy.
By the way, did you guys hear Jamie Foxx's impression of Donald Trump?
No. I mean, everybody's got one. Everybody's got one.
It was crazy. It was so
even better than Alec Baldwin's.
Oh my God, no! It was it would be like if you closed your eyes, it sounded just like Trump. It was crazy.
Oh,
it wasn't like a parody. It just sounded just like Trump. He's like, excuse me.
Sounded excellent. Everything I do is excellent. I like how he talks about a conversation. I was on a plane. They had the best seats, maybe the best seats. He'll just go into the nuances, nothing about what actually is going on. And then he'll go, I don't know if he's a good guy. Maybe he's a bad guy, dirty guy, bad cop. Yeah, he just always.
You kind of sound,
Justin,
you sound like a bit of a combination of Donald Trump and Dr. Evil.
A little bit. Well, I think they're pretty much about the same IQ. So yeah.
I mean,
Dr. Evil, good work. Like him. I knew his place.
Was he saying? It's like, can you throw me a freaking bone here?
Throw me a freaking bone here. Yeah. There you go. But
oh my God, you guys crack me up.
Okay, so Daemon is over there, and he is being a scamp. People, they said I love saying scamp, and I dare say rapscallion even. And he's Daemon has actually perpetually acted out for these 2 episodes, right? He has been a little bit modest, and then he's just acted out. So he's kind of like that kid in class they can't control. And he's that kid in court they can't control. So so he goes to Dragonstone and he says he's taking another wife because the women of the Vale, they're the worst, Heidi. Wicked, nasty, terrible women in the Vale.
They're rapists. Yeah. They're coming to steal. They've got their drugs.
They're rapists and thieves. There's some good people. But
most of them are terrible.
That's just what I've heard. People.
Oh my gosh. Okay, we'll talk about Mysaria's accent.
Misar. I
after.
think they call her Misaria.
Black
Mysaria.
Sails. What is her name in it? In Black Sails, which is one of the best series ever, by the way. There is.
I have to watch it.
It is really good. Please, everybody that's not seen it, but there's an actress. She is the one. Oh my God, I'm blanking on her name, but she has the same accent. It's like a Jamaican French accent.
Mm-hmm. Oh
right?
yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense, but it makes sense what we're like
Someone
describing.
say
Right?
she sort of sounds like Shay. Someone
Shay
said that on Twitter.
Well,
Except I think that's
not so much
Shay's
because
actual. I think that's the actress's actual accent.
that and Shay actually sounded less strong. Her accent was more graceful.
Mm-hmm.
Like
there's
Misaria, the actress doing Misaria was doing a lot. She was doing a lot.
Well, I still said it was still reminding me of the
Jessica Kennedy Max
from the
from Black
Flintstones,
Sails.
the stupid good looking, oh Daemon, oh you stupid good looking prince.
That's kind of like it.
Oh my prince, I'll get something else in for you. It's just like kind of, I don't know, like it was like I don't know what's going on there.
I came in halfway through the conversation.
Rebecca, have you seen Black Sails?
I've seen a few episodes.
Do you remember Max?
No.
She's the woman of the night. She's a big character in it, but she sounds exactly like Mysaria. Like it's like a Jamaican French accent. It's odd.
Yeah.
I love the actress. Like we determined last week, she's British. She's Japanese British. Japanese born
classic
British.
Japanese British.
And I loved her in. Have you guys seen Devs? She's in Devs. She has an American accent in Devs. And she's also in Ex Machina, which is one of my favorite movies.
That's a good one.
Time. And she does that disco dancing scene with sexy Oliver, whatever his name is. What's his name?
Stone?
No, not Oliver Stone.
right.
No, Oliver Stone is so
no
sexy.
one has ever said sexy Oliver.
Oh my God, I think so.
He is a sex monster.
Unhinged. Sexy Oliver Unhinged.
Oliver Stone.
Notorious size queen Oliver Stone.
Interpretation of Vietnam or JFK. That's Oliver Stone. I love that.
I have a really good quick Oliver Stone antidote. So when I was in school, he came and did a talk, and it was all like film school kids that went. And at one point, like he just really tweaked out during the talk. and a friend of mine is friends with the guys who ran the lighting booths, and they're like, we did not start it, but when he started tweaking, we kind of fucked with the lights.
Did he just go off? Because Oliver Stone's crazy.
He's crazy.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's Oscar Isaac. Oscar Isaac is who does this really amazing disco dance move with Sonoria. I think her name is.
Oh, I still love Oscar Isaac. He's so sexy.
He's not talking about Vietnam like Oliver.
But also,
you want to talk about a hot Targaryen.
Stafford says, I mean, not trying to hate, but that accent, just no.
Yeah.
It's just no.
Yeah, it was what could have been a really strong scene. It was just very distracting.
I couldn't understand half of what she was saying. And also, Oliver Stone also went to my college when I went to my undergrad when I was in college. Yeah, it was him and Benicio del Toro.
How come all the colleges where crazy, coked out, cool people went?
Yes.
I didn't go to that college. Oliver Stone's
I mean, it's our state college. It's the University of Puerto Rico. So
that is. And
I think it was around the time the Wolfman come out, like Benicio del Toro's Wolfman movie.
Yeah.
And his hair.
I think it was around that time.
I love Benicio del Toro.
I love.
And it was really awkward because
I love one of my favorite movies is National Born Killers.
I love Sicario.
Is Sicario his movie?
No, he's in it. No,
he's
that's
in
wrong.
it. Oliver Stone.
I'm wrong.
You're talking about Benicio del Toro.
Yeah, Benicio. Yeah.
Yeah, no, amazing. That's actually Sicario is actually Denis Villeneuve.
Denis Villeneuve, or with a Jamaican accent. Yeah, like that.
I think I'm not 100% sure, but I think Benicio actually studied with my dad, which is really freaking cool.
That's so cool.
My mom worked with the janitor at McDonald's.
Okay, we have to get back on track here. I'm drinking, so I'm gonna
Back to
be a very
Rhaenyra and
good.
Daemon.
Okay. So
okay.
she shows up because Otto's there. So Otto seems to be all hyped to go, right? People like he seems to be like ready to go, but he's not really ready to go. Like he seems quite like thrown off guard that Daemon has a dragon. I thought it was pretty well known that the Targaryens had dragons, right? But he went there. He's like, I'll take care of this. And then he was very aggressive until the dragon. He's like, maybe like what type of optimist is that guy?
I can't. I've watched that scene. I've watched the episode like 3 times because I work was easy today, so I was able to watch the episode again. And I think it's just kind of weak writing to like set the whole scene up, like because I think Otto for
No.
as
So it should have
shitty
been
as
like
he
a
is-
behind the scenes. Otto forgot.
No, he was
Yeah.
like,
Dragon.
Like
when the
how they
dragon
forgot
came.
about the Iron Fleet.
He forgot,
He forgot about the Iron
He's like,
Fleet.
he's like,
Yeah,
"Did you
like,
get the dragon?"
Otto
And
forgot that the Targaryens have dragons.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he did
I mean,
though. He did.
I think it,
Honestly, the way I saw it, because it's true audio, because it's obvious that Daemon did all that shit with the egg to get at Viserys, so that Viserys can come and talk to him, so there could be a potential reconciliation. And Otto knew that and said no.
Mm.
And I think he knew about the dragon, but he was trying to like, I can do this. I am strong. It was more like showboating in a sense, like
Oh yeah.
Right.
They didn't
hoping
think Daemon
that
had
if
a
he
capacity
showed.
for violence.
Can I ask though? Do you guys know? Because I don't know this in the books or anything. Does Otto have any kind of combat experience?
No.
Isn't he just
No.
a diplomat? It seemed
Bitch.
weird that
He's
he
a
would
bitch.
show up in
Yeah.
armor
Well,
Because he had guards behind
behind him.
Yeah, and that's real. Like that's you know what I mean? There's plenty of people that show up in armor every day that never been in a fight.
So,
like,
and
that
the other
does
thing I
happen.
was wondering, so he had the Kingsguard, and then he had the Targaryen army, I guess, which I wonder how many I couldn't tell how many there were there.
Clearly
Well-
not over 200 because that's what Daemon had.
Otto
Yeah.
brought 20 men with him.
Yes.
Okay.
Really good
with-
men.
20
Less. That's less, by the way. Daemon has 250, I believe, at Dragonstone with
Yes,
him.
Right.
thank you, Cyrilia.
Yeah. No,
She,
like
she said Oscar Isaac.
I think he was hoping for something and like maybe that he could still figure out a way how to get out of it.
Seems
like
unwise.
Yeah. Oh, it was dumb. It was dumb. And it really is just to kind of like it was more to like highlight like, you know, Rhaenyra coming on Cyrax.
Also,
yeah,
I
and
guess
I think at least character-wise, it was basic. I think it was more of a Hail Mary for Otto. That like, I am going to try to do this just as long as Viserys and Daemon don't reunite. It's gonna be fine.
But also it does, I mean, I guess thematically, because like I've always liked Christian Cole for the fact of he could beat you know, Daemon in a straight fight, but Daemon has a dragon, right? So like this highlights that. But this is an example of wanting to highlight a theme in wanting to do something and sacrificing character for it. You have a character do something stupid, like Otto, who's supposed to, like, you know, he's not a good guy, but he's supposed to have some like strategy, right? Like he's supposed to, like, you know, not be like, oh, the dragon, you know what I mean? Like he's not supposed to have that happen, but they want to show the difference because that is a big, you know, spoiler, like, you know, like one side has way more dragons and that's going to play a fact, you know, come in and be a factor. So like they want to do that so bad that they put a character in a totally uncharacteristic situation to do it. So I mean, in the scene did look bad too, so they nailed it on all fronts. But I didn't hate the episode, but it was that was a bad situation there. Yeah.
I want to say hi to Minty.
Two directors
Hi,
on
Minty.
this episode, to be fair. Spochnik had to
Minty's-
get out.
Minty's other half is going to be coming on to our show in a couple weeks, David. So, Minty, I have to thank you because David told me that you told David about my my channel, so that's really awesome. Thank you so much for doing that.
Lightbringer, is that?
Yes, David's coming on in a couple of weeks.
He recommended the best podcast anybody's ever recommended to me. I just right. Thank you, David. But that is an interesting concept. I think that they just tried to get it to that point right there because they wanted to showcase that so much. But we do have Rhaenyra come in, and I thought she played it pretty cool because it shows that she's not on the side of Otto, that she's willing to get things done. She's a woman of action per se, right? She comes in, and it also shows that Daemon does have love.
Yeah.
And he's not a complete psychopath.
I agree.
Just mostly.
Yeah, and actually one thing that the showrunners did say behind the scenes is that I mean Daemon's not a monster. He's not Maegor, right? He's not a monster.
Maegor's like,
Well,
come
he's not a
on.
complete monster. He has
Not a
his
complete
moments.
monster.
Complete
He's not a
monster.
complete monster.
He has his moments.
He has his moments.
I did the eulogy of the guy's
I mean the comment he made to Rhaenyra at the funeral, for instance, I think that showed he has some softness there.
If nothing else, he loves his family.
He loves his family, kind of like Cersei. She
Maybe
loves
too
her
much.
children, and she has beautiful cheekbones.
Honestly, I see more Cersei in Daemon than in Alicent, to be honest. At least so far. So far, I see more of Cersei in Daemon than in Alicent.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm
He's got-
disappointed.
I think
Daemon.
Daemon is Cersei if Cersei was a man.
Yeah,
And the second son, and not the oldest.
Yeah, and they've got the same cheekbones. They both have beautiful cheekbones.
I actually was more like I love Matt Smith, especially for The Crown.
Yeah,
I thought playing Prince Philip is probably what got him this role. You know, like that they saw him in that, and I don't hate him, but I'll tell you what, I'm kind of that very posh accent he has, that very odd accent. It throws me off a little bit, and I mean it's just me, but I'm very much for him. Everybody that said he is not right for him, I was totally against, and I'm not saying he's wrong, but I will say in his scenes, maybe it's because I'm such a fan of him and I just rewatched The Crown, but I just, you know, he's so Matt Smith, which is kind of a problem for being an actor, if that makes sense.
Wait,
right?
are you saying like his accent here is too posh?
It's too, whether or not that's the right word, I
Right.
said that or not, but it's too different than everybody else's.
it's a little bit higher pitched.
It's a lot. It's way different than everybody.
He's like, hello everyone.
Yeah, because I actually,
I'm talking.
I feel like his accent, and granted, I have not rewatched any Crown since his casting, so I'll look at it again. But actually, I actually kind of thought his accent was a little bit opposite of that. Like there was something like, because he is like the people's prince, and like he is of.
Yeah, and isn't it more like it has a bit
It could
more
be Cockney. It could be. I might have not used the right word. It's just different.
Governor.
It's way too different.
Brushing your teeth, governor.
He has a very distinguished voice. If Matt Smith was to talk in an audio recording and any of you listen to it, you would know it's Matt Smith. It's like,
sure.
So you get, that's what all I'm saying. So like a posh, or I think, your Cockney probably is a better descriptive noun, but yeah.
Oh,
he sounds like a bit of a whiny Joffrey.
That's hilarious. I love it. Close your
Because
eyes. Damon sounds
Joffrey
and
never
Peter
sounded
says,
whiny.
hi, Peter, by the way. Peter says, close your eyes. Damon sounds like Ramsay.
Ooh,
Interesting.
okay.
Because Ramsay the actor does have kind of an East London, I think, accent. He was in a show called, did you guys ever watch
Vicious?
Skins? Or
I didn't watch Skins, but there's one, it's
With
one where
Ian
they have to-
McKellen?
The
It's an old
Outliers. It's something
sitcom
where
with
he's
Ian
on
McKellen, Vicious.
Vicious. Yes, that's got Magneto, old Magneto in it.
Oh.
And
No, the
Yeah,
one
it
I
has
was thinking of is-
Derek Jacobi and Ian McKellen, and it's so good.
they're together.
Are you thinking
He
Yeah.
started
They're an old
Misfits.
gay couple.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Natural Selection
Misfits.
got it for me. Misfits.
right,
Because the
that's-
actor who's also in Misfits is on the Umbrella Academy.
British people are much more willing to do television when they're doing big films.
Yeah.
So there's South London reseller is
Hey,
here.
South London.
Like you can definitely, we are definitely not experts.
We're not at all, especially me.
on London accents, but you
Yeah.
can tell us like what Matt Smith is doing.
Yeah.
He sounds like
I
Matt
think
Smith.
He
is my
sounds a
point.
little different as Daemon than as Matt Smith.
Yeah, and also it's a little bit like, when you see David Beckham and you're like, oh, he's so handsome, and then he opens his mouth and it's just like, whoa, that's a little weird. I don't know what's South London.
David,
maybe
if
you
you're
can explain
watching, I
this
think
for
you're
us.
handsome still. Don't worry about
Robert Sheehan.
Well, I think it's more of an issue that he sounds so different than any of his family members is what throws me off, to be fair. Like, that's what I'm getting at.
Yeah. But I also think that might be part of like the whole, like, he has been carousing with the people.
Yeah. He's a scamp. He's been around.
He's a
Yeah.
scamp.
He's a rogue if there
That
ever
is-
was one, as George would say.
And he has been around the world, right? He spent time in Essos, which no, and they're like he doesn't talk like anybody. He just talks like Matt Smith. But yeah, he's been around the world. That's a good point, Becks.
Oh, by the way, Madness has like asked up some good questions about Viserys. There we go. Do you guys think Viserys not telling Rhaenyra of the engagement beforehand was Rick writing? Is he really that clueless? At least I don't know about you guys, but I don't think it's weak writing. I think it shows very much who Viserys is. Viserys does not like to face things head on.
Yeah.
If he can like just pass the ball along and just let it roll down, and he has doesn't have to deal with it.
He's a king. Like, he sees it as a matter of state. He doesn't need to tell her. Like, that's also, don't get me wrong, he's weak, but he's weak in other ways too. And weakness can come in many forms. And that can be that form right there of him being a misogynistic, piece of crap. That's like, hey, I'm the king. This is a matter of state. I talked to her dad. He gave me permission. We're getting married now. Let's do the Ryan Seacrest. And after the break,
I would agree with you if it wasn't for the fact that he explicitly told Alicent not to tell Rhaenyra about their meetings
conversations.
Together.
Yeah, so he was thinking it.
So I think he understands that this will be at the very least, very awkward for him, Alicent, and his daughter.
He got the sign off from Rhaenyra, like, yes, you need to get married.
Absolutely.
Go get married. And he's like, great. I'm just not gonna tell you who.
That's good though.
It's like where he's gonna be like, what? You said I'm gonna no, it's like I was talking on AK's live stream about this, like when he's like, oh, I'd rather face a dragon than my 15-year-old daughter. It's like, shut the fuck up. That in a way to me is like weak writing, where everyone's like, I'm scared of my teenage daughter
because she has a dragon too. Like,
well,
so you would face the dragon and your daughter.
Said,
I'd rather face the Black Dread than my own.
Yeah, he called his daughter another Visenya, and girl, you know what Visenya was famed for.
No, he called Daemon.
He called Rhaenyra. They already have a Visenya.
No, and then they cut. And then no, he said we already have a Visenya, and then Emma asked right away. She's like, "And how is your brother?" He was talking. He was talking about Daemon.
Yeah.
Oh.
Because Rhaenyra wanted to name the baby Visenya if it was a girl.
Mm-hmm.
I think actually, as some of the palace intrigue, some of the dynasty stuff that's going on, like some of the stuff kind of reminded me a little bit of Dynasty, like it had some of that sort of the palace intrigue, sort of of Dynasty.
My mom was a Dallas fan.
Oh yeah,
and even right when you said Dynasty, like the Dallas theme started playing in my head.
Absolutely.
We lived in Dallas when I was a kid, so
like Dynasty, instead it's like the matriarch or the patriarch, I should say, and then there's two wives, like a current young wife and then an older wife, right?
And Crystal.
Yes, exactly. But so in this case, I feel like it's the daughter and then the wife are kind of the thing. Yeah. And like I said earlier, like it could have been something like he's terrified of talking to his daughter. She's a teenager. So instead, like, let me just do better and just announce in front of the whole small council that I'm going to marry her best friend. Like, it's like, how did you think that was going to work out? Well, it's not working out very well, is it?
Well, that is, though, to be fair, to announce things in front of people, you had the protection of, like, that's breaking up somebody in public, right?
Yeah,
like, there's a protection of the crowd. There is
exactly.
the authority because he's making an official announcement as a king, as a monarch, not as a dad. He's like, and that little scam, too. Not Daemon's not the only rapscallion in that family. He did. I forgot about that, Becks. He got out of it. I like that dirty dog. He's like, can I get married again? She's like, oh, yeah. He's like, all right. Did it.
Well, she gave me permission to marry again.
That's what I'm saying.
This is just an extension of that. I'm just taking it that extra length, you know?
Like, you never told me I couldn't marry your best friend.
Yeah.
He's like lawyering it all up.
That was an option.
Yeah, lawyering it all up.
Well, I've been thinking about this a lot. I actually
I just want to let you know I'm drinking vodka straight now.
You don't
There
have
go.
anything to put
I run out of mix.
I really want
Things are going to
to
go downhill from
I'm
here.
really wondering if I'm going to be interested to see next episode, like what exactly like Rhaenyra is upset about, because
Yeah.
I feel like personally, like it's not just like, yeah, like there is like the layer of like, okay, like the next wife could possibly have a son and like
But she says she
threaten
doesn't care.
her. I think she's going to be more upset that there is an intimacy between Alicent and her father that she has been lacking since her mother died.
In the breach of confidence, right, Becks? Oh, I really
Well-
like how we're sticking up for the Greens too, because I really do see their side. Like, but Rhaenyra is going to see this as, because it's the worst thing when you think you're close to somebody and then you find out you're not close, right?
Well, but
Friends make the worst enemies.
But I think she's I think like the heartbreak, because she's talking about like, my father has barely spoken to me, and like, you know, is trying to like build a bridge and have a relationship with her father, to come find out like, oh no, my best friend has been having this closeness.
Yeah,
with,
and the
like,
best friend I've been speaking to this about.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The one who counseled her to get to like reconcile with her father.
You know, I found out my best friend's my mom. Right?
That's so weird.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like it's like, and that's not necessarily like, I mean, like if anything, that's like more of a pro Rhaenyra thing. Like, you know, I think, I mean, it's on so many levels how she's been betrayed. Even though, like, you know, to be fair, you know, Alicent was specifically said, like, asked, like, don't tell her, and she followed the rules. But yeah,
who is she to go against the king, though? You know what I mean? Like, in her mind, like I think that, and also the relationship between them, there's a closeness, like, of their friendship, like with she's laying on her, right? Like, so there's like but there's also a clear, like, you know, like, there's a lot of deflection in their talk, right? Like, they say, like, right away, it's like, it could be the other dragon could be harnessed, right? And she says, I prefer this. And like, there's many times, I'm not trying to like dismiss their friendship, but they're the type of friends that clearly don't have the same perspective, and they don't really dive to, like, I think that they're like friends of circumstance to a point, which we all are to a point, to be fair. But I think they've actually done a really good job of having this friendship be kind of like ambiguous with how close it is, right? Like, yeah, like these two girls are close, but they're clearly different beasts. They're clearly.
right. Well,
yeah.
You're right. Like, their friendship might be born of circumstance, but I do think it's like a very, well, yeah, convenient circumstance, but I do think it's an actual, like, genuine, deep friendship.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think it's just like, oh, well, like, she's the only girl here my age, I guess I'll hang out with her. Like, there's a very deep closeness. And
yeah, because even if that's how it started, they became close.
Yeah. And I really think, like, you know, with, you know, I mean, like, both of them losing their mothers, but then having these like weird relationships with their father, but then one of them like having that close relationship with the other's father. Like, I mean,
how long goes by, Becks? How long goes by from the first
6 months?
Is it 6 months of them having isolated time? I'm talking to Alicent in Viserys. It's 6 months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
It has been 6 months since, or at least
Emma's death.
Since the first time that, well, because like from the first time, she went to him.
So like 6 months. Yeah, because she went to him very soon after the death.
Yeah, a few weeks,
I would say, I'd say it was days.
Yeah,
days after, yeah.
Because he's mourning, yeah. So it's been 6 months. So that's six. Anytime that you feel you're close and you got like a best friend, and they've been even talking to somebody else and not telling you, that's a deceit right there. Much less marriage. So yeah, that's a good point.
Well, yeah, and that's also a good point. It's like this had been going on for months before Viserys said, "Don't tell her." Specifically, so like, you know, she was already hiding it. Like,
is it the lie or the action?
It's an impossible situation for a teenage girl to be put in, and in like fuck these dads. Like,
hey, she didn't marry the 12-year-old, right? Oh, she's marrying a 15-year-old. Thank God. Or he's marrying a 15-year-old. Like it's like I like how everybody's like, I don't get on that track whatsoever because that is actually very accurate. And I think they handled it well as well.
And I would say like there was one argument that I heard, I can't remember who said it, but it's like, well, it's like if he needs to like get a new like propagate the bloodline, like even though like he could like technically it's only a couple years, but it's kind of like, well, if I need like kids right away, like, because I don't know how Viserys is at this point, but it's like, might as well marry somebody that's like a little bit closer in age to actually like being able to have kids.
That's a good point. Yeah, like I can't wait those years, not only for moral reasons, but mostly for like these discussions. But oh, that's actually solid point there. Sorry, Alicent, that sucks for you. But no,
I mean, that's interesting. I don't know. I'm always interested to like hear why people are like Team Greens when they read Fire and Blood.
But I'm not Team Green. But I'm
never... just who said it? I can't read the chat. But someone in the chat said like,
well, I think Team Green has, because of the fact that Daemon has they have much more dragons, that Team Green, even though like they're in a lot of facts like underdogs, like to an extent with a lot of the battles. I know it's not across the board, but there's the Kristen Cole Daemon thing, because let's remember in a Fire and Blood, the main conflict is Kristen Cole. That's the main conflict. That's pretty much the catalyst more than anything. So Kristen Cole not being a dragon rider and Daemon being one, and in the books him being the main catalyst essentially for all this, is kind of an underdog, because I was a boxer and all that, so like I like a fair fight, right? Like everybody likes to think they do. Okay. So you get what I mean? Like, so to have the dragon, it's like, fuck you, you brought a gun, dude, to the boxing match, you dick. Yeah. Okay. He's like, I'm a scamp.
Fair enough.
Still not Team Green.
I do Terra Incognita, like at least he can have a deeper conversation with a teenager than a tween. Can we just spend like a couple minutes talking about Lena?
And I love Lena. I was having questions about her wig, but she was adorable.
But you know what? This might not be a good opinion, but I kind of liked her wig, especially from behind. Like that first shot of them walking from the back, like, and he's towering over this like teeny tiny.
Again, he's got that kind of like slight hunch.
But then it looks like when you see her right away, it looks like she's wearing a powdered wig.
Gorgeous Georgian. Yeah. She looks like a Georgian.
She's beautiful. She's absolutely beautiful.
I just worry to like.
She's Princess Charlotte.
When she grows up, she's gonna be a heartbreaker.
Oh, well, yeah. But
I thought actually, we were talking about how the periods are kind of like all over. That wig looked 18th century to me.
Yeah.
Like a young Marie.
She looks like a Georgian.
Yeah. No, like a Georgian, exactly.
Yeah. But oh my God, she was so cute. All she wanted to do was talk about dragons, and I can't wait. I mean,
that was her coaching.
Oh, I can't wait. And I like, and then the fact that she's like, where is Vhagar? And it's like, where is Vhagar? And it's like, oh my God, are we gonna find out where Vhagar went?
It's like seeing his Camaro, right?
I'm so like, that got me more excited than anything else in the episode, is seeing like this little teeny.
Well, the absurdity.
Well, but like seeing this little teeny pixie and like knowing she's going to be on the biggest dragon that spoiler alert. Sorry. We said that.
We did spoilers. We did spoilers.
I know, but I actually forgot that. I'm saying from my brain.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. I just remember because I was going at like, because it's just as absurd as we think it would be, right? Because we think these Canes were like, oh, my 6-year-old wife. ooh, like, no, it's like he was very, because he's always awkward, but like he wasn't into that. Like, it was very uncomfortable for him. He's like, get me back to that mature 15-year-old, right? Like,
Right.
yeah, it is what it is.
Now, I have
but-
to say, like, when I heard that they were going to do that scene with her, with Lena, I was, like, not happy about it.
yeah.
But after watching it, I didn't find it as bad as all that.
It wasn't
Like, I
bad
thought
at
it
all.
was-
because both of them, everybody saw how awkward it was.
And-
It's like,
yeah,
and
he
even-
actually took an
even
ethical stance.
Corliss, like, Corliss was like not happy about it.
No.
Like, no one.
Who wants to marry their 12-year-old off?
No,
Like, to
no,
a
and I- and
50-something
Where,
or
like,
other.
you know, Corliss
He wants to have a
is,
12-year-old.
you know, I mean, well, that too. But yeah, like even Corliss, and I know the grumblings, like, because I think everyone's like, Corliss is a good guy, and it's like, I mean, there are no good guys in this.
No.
I
story.
agree, you know, that actually I agree with that. Like, it's funny because when I read Justin, you got Fire and Blood, didn't you?
Yeah.
Did you get it?
Yeah. What? Yes. Yeah, I've got I actually have the hard copy.
Oh,
I
you've got
wanted
a
to
hard
actually
copy.
read it. I had to put on my glasses
Okay.
and everything.
Well, one of the things that struck me when I was reading it is just how horrifying everything is.
yeah, George
it's just-
does that.
Unbelievably horrifying, like to our modern, you know, it's kind of like Justin knows this, but I'm helping a family from Afghanistan and
Families, plural, by the way. She's helping
Families,
all of
and-
Afghanistan.
work,
and
you
Canada.
bitch. Yes.
Yeah.
so this one family told me their story, and I was like, I'm from Canada. Like, I've never seen a gun. I've never held a gun. I don't know anything about guns. Like, we just have no sense of it. So when you hear their stories, you're just like, oh my God, like, seriously? And so, you know, I kind of feel like that. Like, I kind of feel like I'm living in a comfortable home, very protected, everything, like, you know, I'm in a democracy, and I'm reading this story, and I'm thinking, holy shit, there are no winners here.
No.
Yeah.
Well, also too, we see a little bit. Let's go on to that with the Crab King, right? Like with the that from
Talk about hot D.
Totally.
Oh, I didn't know that, ladies, but boom, finger guns all the way, right? I didn't know you was hot. Saw him doing some pretty cool things, like, you know.
I made a
people and
meme.
stuff.
Rebecca, did you see my meme that I said
Wait, so you guys find him
was-
attractive? That guy?
That I
Do we have a picture?
Rebecca, did you see my meme that I did of him that I thought he was Viserys come back to you know, because after the Golden Crown he came back to get his revenge, or he went back in time to get his
We're
revenge.
talking about the guy nailing people in the Crab.
Yeah,
King.
yeah,
Yeah,
he's wearing
but-
this, he's burned. He's a burn victim of
Well,
some kind.
no, he has grayscale.
Oh, he is grayscale. Okay,
And
okay. I thought it was just a
still
bad
sexy.
sunburn.
And his but his mask mask does I can see that, like, because it's like like part of a son of a harpy mask. And,
Yeah,
like,
because he's
other
from
things, but-
Lease or Miss, or where is he from?
I mean,
Yeah,
Mirror.
Miss.
He's from Mirror.
yeah.
The Mirrorish Islands, right?
But like the mask is like part son of the harpy and like other things, so I can see how it looks like the melted gold.
Yeah, I just made a joke. I know it's
Yeah.
not. I
Yeah.
just
I'm
thought it was
giving
funny.
up a picture right now for all you fellas watching out there. We get some bachelor tips right here. 'Cause these
Hey.
ladies happen to think that this guy's quite the happening fella. Hold on.
Well, it's
I
funny that you
mean,
say that. It's
How
funny
could
that you
you
should
not
say
look
that.
at the color?
He is-
Oh,
hold on.
Oh,
Let me
this
get
is-
past this bullshit. Hold on. It's not to sign me up. Hold on. Oh, there he is. All
Oh,
right,
yeah.
cool bachelor.
There he is, all in his
Hot D.
hotness.
Are you
No, it's funny that you should say that, Rebecca, about him having grayscale, because Jack, my husband, when he was looking, this is at the preview, they were showing the people on the beach, or maybe they showed it in the episode.
No, they
And
show the hands.
They showed the hands, and he said, do those people have grayscale? I go, no, they're being eaten alive by crabs.
yeah.
What
Yeah.
a terrible death.
Well,
Yeah.
why'd they get themselves in that situation? That's stupid. No, that's terrible. It's almost biblical, though.
Oh,
Also,
yeah.
that's
Yeah.
like a jerk. So, what about this? So, what would you recommend to these young bachelors? Like, so it looks like somebody's cut him from cheek to chin.
Oh
And
no,
also-
no, that's the mask.
Oh, it's a mask only.
Yeah, so
It's a
like,
gold
part of
mask.
it is like the son of the harpies mask, and then
Oh,
like
yeah,
other
I can
like
see
it's
it.
other like kind of like weird things. I watched like the behind that, like after the episode, wherever
Oh,
the
you
hell
know
they
she
call
did,
it.
fellas.
Oh,
So,
okay.
Tip,
So,
wear a weird
like,
mask.
What I want to know is if all this beauty is not being covered by the mask, what's it look like underneath the mask?
Yeah, why is he sexy still? I'm still trying to figure
I-
this out.
I bet
I
he's big.
I just like kind
Big
of
dick
that has,
energy.
like
Yes.
You heard it first. Crucifying people and letting them eat by crustaceans, fellas. That's the ticket. How'd you get your girl crucifying in crustaceans? You
hey,
know it.
I did not say
That
that.
says he's decisive and he
all we
knows
can
what
do.
to
That is the
do.
only information.
He
Bex,
is
we have to-
that says he's creative. He is a very creative man.
yeah, Dahmer was too. Eh?
I love that.
Um,
I love that. Though, did you guys see this? What Tara said about the mask washed up on the shore crab, dude? Like,
Well,
sweet
he's
ground
got to be wearing
score.
a mask and have some crabs. All right.
Oh my god.
I
Oh my god, you guys.
I like it. I'm gonna fashion myself.
Yeah,
I'll
no,
get myself cut.
I'm kind of excited to see him because doesn't
He's
the
the big
Crab
bad.
King have a crown though?
There's a driftwood crown that you see, but I'm pretty sure like some kid put some seashells together or whatever. But no, I don't.
Yeah.
He's not wearing what. He's a Mirish like sea lord. So he's a pirate.
Natural selection said there is something about a weather soldier.
Are you looking Wikipedia up for why is it okay for me to enjoy this?
Hey,
man?
yeah, I won't tell you about like how like I was like ooh,
I was
after,
asking
like,
if it's
date,
Russell Brand.
But I'm still taking notes. I'm trying to figure it out. Like it's like, all right, that's interesting.
His hair looks like Russell Brand.
Hey, there is something about a man with a hammer. That's
Yeah,
all I
I'm
have
going
to
to
say.
Harbor Freight tomorrow. Get in a hammer. Gonna
There's
go get
something
myself
about a
a-
weather
They need
sailor.
some grayscale.
I'll get it. It's cool. We're all
I
working on it.
also like don't because like like the episode 1, the scene between Daemon and Rhaenyra, like I was like I'm very inappropriately like turned on by this scene.
Oh, this is
Oh.
very therapeutic.
There
When
is
he
something.
told her to,
There's
like,
some.
turn
There's
around, it
good
was just
chemistry
like-
between the two of them, right?
oh my
We
God.
just
There's
have something for
chemistry there
crabs.
for sure.
Because they're both messed up.
It's
They're
gonna
both messed
be
up.
weird though because they're gonna swap out the actor and then
No,
it's
the
gonna be
actress.
weird.
Yeah. I'm sorry, actor. But
like
yeah,
he's
just
staying, she's
her.
going.
Yeah, he's
So it's
still
gonna-
Matt Smith in it.
It's gonna be like Viserys. Varys's time traveling. We're gonna.
And
be
I'm
like,
sorry, but
boom.
who they're replacing
Oh,
her with
like
is
Littlefinger's,
way older.
Yeah, how they time travel, like they cross.
I
the
will
planet.
say though, I can in fact imagine that Millie Alcock grows up to be Emma
That is
Darcy.
true.
Emma
Yeah.
Darcy.
I
They
wouldn't
had that. Those
consider
like
her- she's
pretty
beautiful,
perfect
but not a-
casting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's beautiful, but she's not like your stereotypical like.
It's not a
Yeah.
conventional beauty.
Yeah.
Like
yeah,
not like the actress playing Alicent, like older Alicent. Like you could
Yeah.
see her. You say, "Oh, she's pretty." You
Yeah.
see the Emma Darcy. Emma Darcy.
Yeah, it is Emma Darcy. You're right. Yeah.
Emma
I
Darcy.
don't know. Yeah.
I know it's something Darcy. But you don't see
Well-
any because people were up in arms when they announced her casting. It's like, really? Her? She's the Roxy Light? Are you sure about that? It's like,
I loved her. I
Oh,
saw
yeah.
her in another show she was in, which was the Simon Pegg show. Like
Oh right.
she was
Yeah,
really
yeah,
good in
yeah,
that. But unfortunately, it's not coming back. Actually, madness ends regarding Rhaenyra's kids. Well, he's not the. Can I say that?
No.
Yeah,
no,
well, yeah.
because it'll
Yeah.
work out. That's why it's genetic.
yeah,
he's
it'll
not gonna
work
be the
out.
father.
It's not supposed to be.
Yeah.
They're not
Yeah.
supposed to. They're not supposed to look like Lena
Because
he's
yeah,
not
they'll go
bad.
on Maury and they'll find out not. Yeah, they'll figure it out.
You are not the father.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's even just as simple as like they're not gonna have silver hair,
Yeah, because that's.
and
stupid.
yeah.
Oh, thanks, Bodhi. Is it Bodhi? How do I always say your name? Bodhi? Bodhi?
I'm saying Bodhi because Bodhi
Bodhi?
sounds like a cool
Bodhi?
person.
Bodhi.
I say Bodhi.
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 She can tell
Bode
us-
hey.
Bodhi.
No, I
But
actually
hey.
that
Bodhi.
well, oh no, I actually so she's saying that they cast the younger cast after the older cast. But
That
what
makes
I'm
sense.
saying is that there's really great chemistry between Matt Smith and Millie Alcock, who apparently is in her 20s, by the way.
Yes,
22.
like and Alicent is also in
She's
her,
also in
like,
her 20s.
in
Yeah.
her 20s.
How old is Matt Smith?
Hallelujah.
He's kind of ageless. He's like an elf.
Well, he's a time.
He's in his 30s.
He's a
time-
Time Lord.
Time
I think he's in
Lord.
his 30s.
He's in his 30s.
I mean, he's a Time
Okay.
Lord.
Hold on.
No,
He's a
he's
Time
in his
Lord, so who
40s.
knows, right?
Oh, he's in his
much older than
40s.
me.
Oh, 80,
Yeah.
Is he really? He
Yeah,
looks
because
young.
he's he's in his 40s because I've looked it up to feel young. Okay, he's definitely in his
Oh.
40s.
That's age appropriate for me.
Yeah, that's fine.
Sure.
I
But
think
that
so,
is a
too.
good
I
point,
mean,
though. There
I
is
think
good
so too, because
chemistry.
he is her
so let's
uncle.
hope-
He is
yeah.
her uncle. Now,
Well, if you're gonna
that-
be an uncle and date your niece, be age appropriate. I
yeah,
guess
I've
that's
never
what
had
I
a crush on my uncle, but I had a crush on my cousin, who was a little
Oh,
bit
he's
older than me.
39, so he's
Heidi.
not technically in
Oh.
his 30s. In his 40s.
Is that bad?
He's almost in his 40s, but not so much.
So
He's
I was
39.
12.
Oh,
so that I was the
he's
same
a
age as Lena.
Scorpio.
But
He's
now
a
I feel
Scorpio,
old.
which like
Now-
makes
yeah.
me like him a lot more.
He's a Scorpio.
Thanks, Trevor. Thanks for clearing that up. I appreciate it, buddy.
His birthday
Damn
birthday
it.
is a month after.
This is a
mine.
drinking stream, everyone, in case you
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah, okay. He's
I am
39.
drinking
Thanks
the
for
most
midlife
dangerous
crisis.
alcohol of all.
Oh, you're drinking water?
Water.
Tatiana, you
Water.
haven't had a drink. Like, have you stopped drinking? Sorry, I don't mean
What's
to
your
put you on the
pro-
spot.
Yeah, no, but
spot.
that's really
Well,
concerning.
technically, the alcohol here isn't mine, so I'm not really allowed. So I
That's
have
when you. That's why you steal it.
Didn't stop the gangsters from during prohibition.
That's what I did.
All right.
You know,
True.
Or make
Emma
some of the
Darcy's
bathtub.
30 now. Yeah, so she's 30 now.
Wait, Emma Darcy's only 30?
Oh yeah, she's young. Yeah.
She looks older.
That was one of the complaints that I read that
Don't
apparently
ever
Sorry.
say that out loud ever again.
I am
What?
saying that.
Wait.
Like, I'm not trying to be a jerk, but she does look older than 30, and it might be the
Does
makeup.
she?
I have
No,
not-
it's
Well,
I think it's
or-
it's
Okay,
it's,
I'm
the-
only
it's the costume.
familiar context here. I'm only familiar with her in this role. That is
Okay.
the only thing I've seen her. She
It's
looks
the
older than
wig.
30.
It's the wig for sure.
wig.
Yeah,
It's
those
the
never
wig.
look good, I
Because,
guess. Yeah.
like, I mean, like, because like once you hit like a certain like
Age.
in your like you're gonna look like you're like
old.
Yeah,
I have to say,
mean,
what I love about Emma Darcy is her nose, because like I think that
she does have a cute nose.
George always talks about the aquiline nose, and she's got a little bit of that. Like she's got that slight little raised bump. And I
Aquiline.
loved it. I love it. And there's that one beautiful picture of them that we haven't seen yet, where I guess they're getting betrothed. And it's a profile of her, and she's got that cute little peak hat, and then they tie their hands, and there's the blood. And
Oh
everything.
yeah, the blood bond. Yeah.
The blood bond.
Like what I like about Emma Darcy as Rhaenyra is like you said, she's not the conventionally pretty beauty,
Yeah.
but she has like this regality about her. Like she has like this regal